Welcome to the first episode of Real Talk, Real Walk for 2020. It's been 7 months since our last episode, and I'm so happy to be back here with you. So many things have happened to me during this time, and I'll be sharing more in episodes to come. It feels good to be back with you, and I just wanted to take a moment to say hello to a few of the fans of the show and thank them for their support. Johnette Green and Chuck Dennis, thank you for just staying there with me. Thank you for your support. Johnette says she loves how the show is so transparent and I share a lot about myself as I talk to you in the show. Chuck said he likes how I relate Bible verses to everyday things that are happening and the memes and the quotes. Thank you. The show couldn't be what it is without your support. Please hit the like button below or subscribe if you're on YouTube, or the heart if you're on Instagram. With that being said, if this is your first time watching Real Talk, Real Walk, thank you for joining us today. One day God gave me this idea for the show, and he gave me the words Real Talk, Real Walk, and I didn't know what to do with it. And if you look in the previews for the new season, if you look closely at the vision board, you'll even see where I wrote the title for Real Talk, Real Walk. As I've watched my social media feeds during the past few months, I started seeing a lot of year-end posts that all had a theme that talked about change, cutting off people, not wanting to do the same old again. Here are just a few of the ones that got my attention. I saw memes like this one. May the tears you cried in 2019 water the seeds that are planted in 2020. Take that in for a minute. I saw this one. I lived it. I survived it. Time for a new story. Hashtag still standing. Wow. This one really caught my attention. 2020 won't be any different from 2019 if you continue to do the same thing. Woo! I'm sure you all have seen a lot of the same memes that I have, and they just catch your attention. I know a lot of people are hurting, and everybody wants the new year to bring something different and better than what they currently have. As 2019 was coming to a close, I took some time to reflect on my life. I looked at where I'm at, and I looked at where I wanted to be and what needed to be done for me to move forward. I looked at old pictures of my vision board that I had in years past, and it blessed me. I remembered the Bible verse, Proverbs 29 and 18, that says, where there is no vision, no revelation of God in his word, the people are unrestrained. But happy and blessed is he who keeps the law of God. I need a new vision for 2020. I need focus and direction. I've gotten off course in my life, and somehow continuing to live my life like that is not an option for me. And I know it's not an option for you. I thought about the verse Habakkuk 2 verses 1 and 3. While standing guard on the watchtower, I waited for the Lord's answer. Before explaining the reason for my complaint, then the Lord told me, I will give you my message in the form of a vision. Write it clearly, enough to be read at a glance. At the time, I have decided my word will come true. You can trust what I say about the future. It may take a long time, but keep on waiting. It will happen. That's powerful. Verse 3 is the most critical verse here because God says the vision will happen in his time. Even if it takes a long time, just chill. It'll happen because God said it will. This verse reminded me of how I started riding motorcycles. I wanted a motorcycle, but God had a plan to use me and my bike for his glory. I remember when I was a kid, a friend of mine had a mini bike and he took me for a ride. I almost fell off the bike, and that's when I fell in love with motorcycles. And I often wanted to get a bike in my earlier years, but people often said in Chicago a motorcycle is not practical in the winter months. So fast forward, I'm married, I'm getting ready to buy my first house, and I went to my wife and I said, hey, I want a motorcycle, but before you say no, pray about it. And if God says okay, we're good. My wife came back and said, go get your bike. We closed on our house, and shortly thereafter, I called the bike shop and said, I'm coming to get my bike. I started riding and hanging out with other cyclists here in Illinois, and I really enjoyed riding. And one day, I did a search on Christian cyclists, and I found this group called Christian Sport Bike Association. On their webpage, there was a minister in a robe with a helmet on, sitting on top of an R1. When I saw that, I fell in love with that organization. I joined them, and I went on to continue to ride and to use my bike to help other people learn about God. God had a purpose for me, and he knew I wasn't ready for my bike until I was responsible, because I'd kill my crazy butt if I'd have got it when I was younger. And that's how I got my motorcycle. You know, we often look at God as a personal ATM, but he is so much more than that. He tells us not to treat him like a payday loan. People love to quote, or should I say misquote, this one Bible verse. You have not because you ask not. Here's what the verse says in the proper context. James 4 verses 1 and 3. Why do you fight and argue with each other? Isn't it because you are full of selfish desires that fight to control your body? You want something you don't have, and you will do anything to get it. You'll even kill, but you still can't get what you want. And you won't get it by fighting and arguing. You should pray for it. Yet even when you do pray, your prayers are not answered because you pray just for selfish reasons. We want blessings with others. I've had a chance to drive a Ferrari, experience the power of a new Corvette, and the handling of an Audi RS7. Oh my God, those cars were phenomenal. My friend is what verse 3 is all about. What he has is available to others to experience. He shares things with other people that don't have the means to enjoy what he has. Let's look at my vision board for 2020. On my vision board, it's broken down into 3 sections. One is the section designed for God. It's the things that I'm praying for, the people that I'm praying for, and the prayers that God has answered. Those things are important to look at. When you pray for things and you see that they've been answered, no one can tell you that God does not come through. The second section I have broken down is on goals. My personal goals, my career goals, my financial goals. And even at the very end, I have a couple of things that I would love to have if God says so. My last section is my destiny. It's where I'm headed. It's what my life is here to accomplish. And what I really like to do is retire on a high when that time comes. I want to leave a legacy for my kids, and I want to move forward in my life. I hope you create a vision board for yourself. I promise you, if you ask God to help you build it, you will check off completed tasks, goals, and prayers in no time. The one thing I know for sure about 2020 for myself is that life is changing, and God is telling me to trust the process. I know I'm going to fall. I know I'm going to fail. I know I'm going to make mistakes. I know I probably will even try to take the pen out of God's hands as he's writing the story of my life. I saw this meme and I laughed so hard because I knew God was talking to me. I know my 2020 will be bright, and I know yours will be too. So from the folks at Real Talk, Real Walk, I like to wish you a happy, blessed, prosperous, peaceful, and God-anointed new year. Now that's real talk, real walk. See you next time.